All right, welcome everybody to the week 8 HOH competition. Of course, you guys have already filled out a form voting on each of the touchy subject superlatives that you think your fellow house guests best fit. And now this is the second part to the challenge. There's a couple of people who are not in attendance, and they had already competed in the second part of the challenge. But let me just reiterate what this is. One at a time, I'm going to read off each of the superlatives, and the people who are competing here will write down the name of the house guest they think a majority of the house voted for in that category. So you can vote yourself. While you weren't able to do it during the first portion of the challenge where you actually like completed out the survey, now you can. So if you think you are the one that majority of the house guests voted for that specific category, by all means do that. If you correctly identify the person majority of the house voted for, you get a point. And whoever has the most points will be the new head of household. Once you write down the answer that you want to put down, give me a thumbs up. And when I get a thumbs up from Caleb, Danny, and Tawny, as they are the only three left who have not competed yet, then I'll say 3, 2, 1, reveal. I'll mark them down, and I will say not only the answer, but everybody that received a point. If you want to keep up, I'm going to keep telling you the scores until the end. Does anyone have any questions? Alex, I thought that was Alex's reaction. Never mind. All right. First question. Who is most likely to have a secret channel no one knows about? Again, who is most likely to have a secret channel no one knows about?
Does that mean YouTube channel?
You can take it out if you want. It was you. Oh, we got a thumbs up from Danny, thumbs up from Tony, waiting on a thumbs up from Caleb. Got a thumbs up from Caleb. All right, 3, 2, 1, reveal. Danny and Tawny both said Chris. Caleb said Tawny. And actually, funny thing for this category, there was a tie. The majority said that Chris or Jesse would have a secret channel that nobody knows about. The following players get a point. Chris gets a point, Danny gets a point, David gets a point, Jay gets a point, and Tawny gets a point. Um, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, your votes for this challenge, like during the second part will be revealed. Like we'll send a little chart of it later on the announcements. Your private answers, they remain private. They stay like that, your personal ones. But this one will be posted later. Forgot to mention that. Now let's move on. Next question. Who would go viral for an embarrassing video of them falling down? Again, who would go viral for an embarrassing video of them falling down? Thumbs up from Danny, thumbs up from Tawny. A head nod from, and then a thumb up from Caleb. 3, 2, 1, reveal. Okay, Danny and Tawny in agreement again. They both voted for Caleb. Caleb voted for Tawny. He's doubling down. He's making sure Tawny has to be the answer to one of these. The correct answer, none of the three of you got right. The majority voted for David to be the one. The following players get a point. Chris gets a point, David himself gets a point, and Caden gets a point. We move on to question 3. Who could get 1 million subscribers overnight? Again, who could get 1 million subscribers overnight? Tawny has a thumb up. Caleb thumb up. Danny has a thumb up. 3, 2, 1, reveal. Okay, so we got some different answers here. Danny said Caleb. Tawny said Jen. Caleb said David. Um, One of you did get a point. Hayden and Jen tied for who could get 1 million subscribers overnight. The following players get a point. Chris gets a point, Jay gets a point, and Tawny gets a point. We move on to question 4. Who spends the most time on YouTube in one day? I repeat, who spends the most time on YouTube in one day? Tawny has a thumb up. Danny has a thumb up. Caleb has a thumb up. All right, 3, 2, 1, reveal. Okay, Danny and Caleb both voted for Tawny. Tawny voted for Jesse. The majority voted for Jesse to be the one to receive a million. Who was most on YouTube? Whatever. The following people get a point. Chris gets a point. Jay gets a point. Jen gets a point, and Tawny gets a point. We move on to question 5. Who would get in a heated battle in the YouTube comment section? I repeat, who would get in a heated battle in the YouTube comment section? We got 2 thumbs up from Danny and Tawny. We got a thumb up from Caleb. 3, 2, 1, reveal. Okay, Caleb said David. It's a little bit blurry. Yeah. And Danny and Tawny both voted for Caden. None of you got it right. The majority voted for Tawny. To get into a heated battle in a YouTube comment section. The following players get a point while Tawny puts her hand in her face out of disappointment. Jay, Jen, and Caden all receive a point. We're moving on to the next question. Now we're getting into the more game-centered ones. Which evictee should still be in the game? Again, which evictee should still be in the game? Got a thumb up from Tawny. Got a thumb up from Caleb. Got a thumb up from Danny. 3, 2, 1, reveal. All in agreement that Vicky should still be in the game. And lucky for y'all, that's what the majority voted. So the 3 of you get a point, and Jay receives a point. We move on to the next question. Who would lose to everyone in the final 2? Again, who would lose to everyone in the final 2? Tawny has her thumb up. Caleb has his thumb up. Danny has his thumb up. 3, 2, 1, reveal. Okay, got it. All different answers. Caleb voted himself. Poor Caleb. Danny voted for Jesse, and Tawny voted for David. One of you correctly guess what the majority would say. The majority said David would lose to everyone in the final 2. So Tawny receives a point, and Jen receives a point. We move on to the next question. Who thinks they're running the game, but isn't? It says but aren't, but the grammar who isn't running the game. Who thinks they are, but they're not.
Blame
They are.
Alex for
Well,
the
actually,
grammar.
they aren't. No.
Alex, your
Whatever.
grammar.
Your grammar, man. Because they aren't. Like, whatever. They all thumbs up. 3, 2, 1, reveal. Okay, Caleb voted himself again. Poor Caleb again. Danny and Tawny both voted for David, though. The majority said David thinks he's running the game, but he isn't. So both of you, Danny and Tawny, get a point. Also, Chris gets a point, and Jay gets a point. We move on to the next question. Who is the biggest threat to win this game? Tawny has her thumb up. Danny has his thumb up. Caleb has his thumb up. 3, 2, 1, reveal. Okay, so we got some different answers here. Danny said Tawny. Both Caleb and Tawny said Jen. The majority of the house said Jen is the biggest threat to win the game. So Caleb and Tawny both get a point. And I believe you're the only 2 to receive a point during that question. All right, let's move on to the next one. Which player has the most final 2s? Which player has the most final 2 deals? Tawny has a thumb up. Danny has a thumb up. Caleb has a thumb up. Three, two, one, reveal. Okay, we got Danny says Jay. Caleb and Tawny both said David. The majority of the house said that David is the player with the most final two deals. So Caleb and Tawny get a point. Jay and Jen also get a point. We move on to the next question. We only have four more. Who could lie to your face the best? Which house guest could lie and deceive to your face the best? Tawny has a thumb up. Danny has a thumb up. Caleb has a thumb up. Three, two, one, reveal. Different answers here. Caleb voted for himself. Poor Caleb, part three. Danny voted for Jen.
I
Tawny
expected.
voted for Kaden. One of you didn't correctly vote with the majority. Jen was voted the player who could lie to your face the best. So Danny receives a point and Jay receives a point. We move on to the next question. Who is the most likely to comp out? Which house guest is most likely to win competitions all the way to the end? Okay, we got two thumbs up. Can I get a third? We did get a third. All right, three, two, one, reveal. Again, some different answers. Caleb voted for Tawny. Danny voted for Jen. Tawny voted for Chris. Again, one of you did successfully vote in the majority. Tawny, no, I'm sorry. Tawny got a point. Tawny got a point. Tawny got a point. My fault, my fault, my fault. Chris was the one voted most likely to comp out. Tawny receives a point. Jen receives a point. And Caden receives a point. We're moving on to the penultimate question. I forgot this question was in there. Who do you never want to see again? I forget this question ends up on here. Like, I don't put this in every touchy subject I've ever done.
Exactly. I'm having to deal with my own shit right now and I hate it.
Who do you never want to see again? Tawny has a thumb up and
I
a
will
and a pointer
say
finger.
I won this in my first ever org, and then I continued playing and never got it again. So it's okay. Whoever gets it can move past it. We're all good.
Yeah, we're still waiting a couple thumbs. It's almost like okay, good. All right. Well, both of you, I was like three, two, one, reveal. I don't want to laugh. Well, I already did. It's too late. But yes, David was voted the player you never want to see again. I think okay, not the only time you all agreed, but of all questions to agree on, it was this last question. Who is going to be the next person voted out? And last question, Chris, Jay, and Caden all received points for that last question. But for this last one, who is going to be the next person voted out? Got a thumb up, got two thumbs, got three thumbs. No one has three thumbs. That's weird. Three, two, one, review. I'd be shocked if the person you voted for, who do you never want to see again, wasn't also who is most likely going to get voted off. David was voted most likely to get voted off next. All of you got that right. Chris, Jay, and Caden also got those right. Do we? But now we have a tiebreaker question for all of you. Just in case. It's a formality. We asked everyone else to answer it.
We actually don't need a tiebreaker.
I know we don't need. Told them. I told them because it's a formality. We were gonna make them do. Well, now. Well, Heather. No. Stop. No. Well, too late. It's already late now. Heather just revealed it doesn't even matter. So let's just
Yeah,
screw
let's
all
just
of
get
it,
on
right?
with it. I
Screw
want to go to
effort.
bed.
Anyways, I hate. Ugh. Anyways, in last place, getting 1 out of 14. David, you are not the head of household. In a three-way tie, Yes. Getting 5 out of 14. Caleb, Jen, Hayden, none of you are the head of household. Getting 6 out of 14. Danny, you are not the head of household. And receiving 7 out of 14. Chris, you are not the head of household. Which means it comes down to Jay and Tawny. And if you were keeping track, you'd already know the answer. But if you weren't, it's very competitive because 1 point made the difference. With 11 out of 14 points, congratulations, Tawny. You are the new head of household. And I hate that you rushing me said, yeah, Jacob, let's get this over with. I want to go to sleep was rewarded. Anyways, Tawny, of course, schedule a time when you're awake and conscious to host the nomination ceremony tomorrow. Preferably not during Big Brother time, but if it has to be the way, it has to be that way. But again, congratulations, and we'll see all of you guys tomorrow.
Nice.